I wanted to come on here, right when these came out and be mad and, pitch a fit and these guys are dumb and they don't care or whatever. But I mean, at this point, I'm just frustrated. It's like I'm not even mad, I'm just disappointed. Because it's not just that you're logo watching, which is what you're doing when you look at it, but the methodology makes no sense, and I hope maybe, just maybe there was a chance that there would be some type of formula this year in the college football playoff rankings that would make sense. And after 2 weeks, it doesn't. If you think they're doing one thing, you can find that one thing, but then you find a contradiction. There's more contradictions in this than a blind guy judging an archery contest, like I put out on social media yesterday. So I'm to the point now, and I think I've been to that point. We've got to get sitting ADs and anybody with financial attachments to certain universities off this playoff committee. Got to get them off.
Yeah.
Got to get them off. It's not going to be perfect. I don't envy the job, but I would rather have people there that just care about the best thing for college football. And obviously these guys, there's quid pro quo that goes on. And Drew Butler, David, I thought made a great point. Why don't we make the meetings transparent?
Yeah.
Why don't we broadcast the meetings?
Yep.
Why don't we hear what they say? Because I'm gonna go through the top 15 right here. You got Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4, Indiana 5, BYU 6, Tennessee 7, Notre Dame 8, Miami 9, Bama 10, Ole Miss 11, Georgia 12, Boise State 13, SMU 14, and A&M 15. I am totally fine with Oregon at 1. I am fine with Ohio State at 2. Texas has no ranked wins, and they're not undefeated. Penn State has no ranked wins, and they're not undefeated. Indiana and BYU are one of the 3 teams that are undefeated at this point. I understand why they're up there. We can talk about their schedule, but they're undefeated. And Indiana's got to go play Ohio State. BYU beat SMU and beat the shit out of Kansas State. Tennessee is at 7. It is a joke to me that Texas and Penn State are in front of Tennessee. It is a joke to me that Miami is at number 9 after losing to a 5-4 Georgia Tech team, while SMU sits there at 14 with their only loss coming to an undefeated BYU team. They both beat Louisville. Georgia at 12 is a crime against humanity with their schedule. So, David, I'll let you I can't trust them. It's a business. I get it. They're trying to make money. They're going to put themselves in a position to make the most money. We have got to get people that are financially tied to some of these programs off this damn committee because this is pathetic. This is pathetic. Ward Manuel, when I hear if they put Ward Manuel's brain in a dog, it'd walk backwards when I listen to this man talk. It makes no sense. Go ahead, David. I'm fed up with it, dude.
A few things. Yeah, the sitting members of academia that are on the college football playoff committee, that seems a little bit crazy to me. I don't even understand why that's controversial, not to have sitting members at institutions be on the college football playoff committee. Obviously, I don't know. I wasn't quite as angry just because I see this more as a television show, and I know we have several weeks left to go.
I just can't get over that point.
I just think people were too mad, I think, especially on ESPN yesterday. I was seeing a lot of that. I mean, I'll give you an example. We only went to, 15 there, but South Carolina at 6-3 and LSU at 6-3. You got South Carolina in front of LSU, despite LSU having the head-to-head. That seems like an easy one to me, where the committee can say, okay, I know South Carolina is playing a lot better right now than LSU is, and at the time that they lost that game, but their records are the same and you have a head-to-head. Right above it at Kansas State and Colorado, you honored that head-to-head when the record was the same. I really think if you're listening to the show today and you didn't listen yesterday, please go listen to our rankings yesterday. And maybe what we should do is the conversation that we have when we make our rankings, maybe we should just do that live. It would take a lot longer, but maybe people can see our transparent conversation that we're having when we're making our ranking. As far as Georgia at 12, I mean, that's kind of where we had them. I mean, I think we had Georgia right at 12. And the thing is, we all love Clay Travis. I saw Clay Travis was kind of upset about some of the spots on this too. I'll just reiterate what I said yesterday. I don't know for a fact right now that a 2-loss Georgia team beats BYU. I don't know that for a fact. I have no idea.
No, yeah,
I don't know
BYU
right now. I don't know as I sit here right this second that Ole Miss destroys Indiana and beats them in a game. I don't know that. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from a perspective. It's been so chaotic. It's been such a crazy college football season. Let's finish it out. We have 3 weeks to go plus the conference championships, and I think that'll give us a better perspective.
Let us do it.
Just let us do it. Let us do it. We'll pick a couple other guys. This is a clown show. It's a clown. Nothing about it makes sense to me. Make it make sense to me. Where's the criteria? Do y'all know the criteria?
There is no criteria.
It's literally just brand bias. That's all it is. What do you have? There's no reason for Texas to be at 3 and Penn State at 4. And Miami at 9. And David, I agree with you. You can't sit here and say, after you watch an Ole Miss team lose to Kentucky, that they're going to roll BYU or Indiana. The same thing with Georgia. It'd be a lot. It's to the point now where I miss the BCS. I miss the BCS because we got a bunch of guys who sit up in probably the nicest hotel, deciding between champagne or caviar, just whatever they want, and they have no clue what they're doing. Nothing about this top 25 makes sense to me at all. At all.
Yeah, well, the Army disrespect is incredible to me at 24. Now, they get to play Notre Dame and kind of remedy that. I don't have a problem with Georgia being at 12 if there were other teams that were in front of them. I've got a problem with, the way that we did it. I was mostly fine with who he had in front of Georgia. Obviously, Ole Miss needs to be in front of them. They beat them. Alabama needs to be in front of them. They beat them. Miami in front of them? Man, that one's tough for me to swallow. Notre Dame, yeah, you only got one loss. It was to Northern Illinois. To Northern Illinois. Look at Tennessee. What pisses me off about Tennessee being there is that what is the difference in Tennessee that makes them worse than Texas and Penn State? Explain that one to me. That's the one I don't get the most. Texas has not beat a ranked team. Tennessee has. They beat Bama. Penn State has not beat a ranked team. Tennessee has. Indiana undefeated, BYU undefeated. I'm fine with it, David, at this point in the season. We're going to see with Indiana. We'll see with BYU down the stretch. If there was methodology to it, or if there was a formula to it or criteria to it, and you could explain it to me, then I could understand it, and at least we could know.
A basis.
A basis to go off each week. But that's not what we have. We have a bunch of rich old dudes and middle-aged dudes that sit in a room surrounded by other rich dudes, all right, that are financially tied to certain places, and I don't think they have a clue. Either you're dirty or you're stupid. Which one is it? What's that old saying or phrase about aliens? Either we're alone in the universe or there's aliens in the universe. Both of those outcomes are equally horrifying. Either you're stupid or you're dirty. Those are the only two options.
I certainly don't want to get in the habit of defending the College Football Playoff Committee, but all of their 12 teams are the same as our 12 teams. The order's a little bit different.
Well, the order's the most important part, right?
Well, no. I mean, look, what if half of their 12 was different than our 12? Then that would certainly be a justification for being angrier than if all the teams are the same but the order's off. There are levels.
If there was a method to
all
it,
12
David.
of the teams they picked are the same as our 12, but the order's just off. Tennessee, we had Tennessee at 5. They have Tennessee at 7. Right? Tennessee's about to play a Georgia team who they have ranked at 12, and we have ranked at 12. I think we'll find out more information about both those. We had Miami at 11. They have Miami at 9. Again, a lot of this stuff is going to play itself out.
For sure.
No, it will, and I hope to God it does.
It just even if it plays out, we're living in the now, right? That's what we're doing. Why would Texas be ranked ahead of Tennessee?
Well, we didn't do that.
No, I'm saying that's what, the order is the most important. Order is huge. Yeah, the 12 obviously that get in. You've got the 5 automatic bids.
But it really is kind of not now because you have the automatic qualifier. So Texas is going to have to win the SEC for that to hold. They're going to have to win it.
Well, see, I don't agree
right now
with that,
it could hold.
What if they lose one more game and they don't play in the SEC championship and they don't have a ranked win? They put their ass at 3 with 1 loss and no ranked wins. So you're telling me no, that's not the case. They're not going to drop.
No, they can't because the winner of the SEC is going to get the first 4 bye.
David, I get that, but what I'm saying is, what if Texas wins all the games that they have left, but they lose to Texas A&M, and they're 10-2, and they're not in the SEC championship, and they have no ranked wins? What if Penn State ends up with no ranked wins? So what you're telling me is you are already giving them the benefit of the doubt because now you can't say, oh, we dropped Texas and Penn State back because they have no ranked wins. That's the part that is upsetting me the most.
Let me just fill you in on something. If Texas goes 10-2, they're going to be in the college football playoff. You can be angry about it, but they're going to be in it. Like, they're just going to be in the college football playoff.
I just
Like, that's the way that it's going to go.
Why? It shouldn't go like that. Like,
Well, how should it go?
Well, we should have
How should it
criteria about how you get into the playoff, right? So if you're Texas, you're 10-2, you have no ranked wins. Your best wins against Vanderbilt, right? And I measure that up against another 10-2 that they have at 15, right? Our 16, and Kansas State walks in with 2 ranked wins. But no, that's not good enough. We got Texas at 3, so we're dropping to 12 because they are Texas. Like, I just need a formula of what you're basing stuff off of, because if they're ranked 3 now and they do drop 1, like, it almost tells you they're not going to drop them as far as you.
But how do we know at this point in the season they don't have ranked wins? Again, we keep telling people you have to go on the strength of schedule at the end of the year.
Well, then you can't do
They
rankings.
beat Michigan. When they beat Michigan,
Well, then you
Michigan
can't do
was ranked.
rankings until the last
no
week.
point for that.
Then there's no point.
Then there is no point.
But
That's why I
again,
keep
they're
trying
just
to
going
tell
to
you.
drop it on. They're not going to do that.
Michigan was ranked when Texas beat them. They're not now.
Yeah, but
What if one of those teams becomes ranked that they beat earlier in the year? Like, you have to be consistent with this. Either we're going to take the strength of schedule at the very end of the year, or we're going to take it like the week that you played them.
Yes,
to me doesn't
but I mean, we're in week what, 12? We're not in week 2 or week 3 where we're just finding out that Michigan isn't great, or we're just finding out that USC isn't great. Like, that's not where we're at. I mean, we're almost
Yeah, but the Vanderbilt win legitimately looks better now. So when you say, oh, your best win's going to be against Vanderbilt, we can't on one side say, oh, wait, Vanderbilt's actually better this year than they're supposed to be.
Than being
also,
dog shit. Like, I mean, that if your best win is Vanderbilt, that's not good enough. What I'm interested to see is what happens when it comes down. There's 2 spots left, and we ran this scenario out. There's 2 spots left, and there's 3 teams. And let's say it's Bama, let's say it's Georgia, and let's say it's Texas. Because then not having a criteria, you got a big problem.
Well, you have the head-to-head. They have a criteria. They have head-to-head, and Georgia beat Texas.
Well, David, I mean, what you just pointed out.
They don't have the same number of losses.
David,
bro.
you just
We
pointed
talk
out the
about this
head-to-head
all
of
the
South
time.
Carolina and LSU being wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
that to me is where the committee, like, that to me is such an easy one. Like, why did
And I
you
agree
get
with
that
that.
wrong?
That's why Kansas
Like,
State
that's
should be in
such an
front of
easy
Colorado.
one. And I think maybe they're thinking because it's past 12 that it, like, somehow doesn't matter.
And that's probably 100% right. And that's, which, again, we can sit here and argue all day. What I am hoping, and I think we all hope, and because we're all passionate about this, is that somehow this just works itself out. But we went through all the scenarios. I don't see a way in which it's just cut and dry, where it's like, all right, this is obviously the 12. I mean, maybe we'll see if, like, Tennessee beats Georgia and A&M wins, or somebody loses, or Notre Dame loses to Army. I don't know, but I mean, this is the conversations we have when we're making ours together, but at least there's some sort of method to the madness of why we decide to do.
Well, and part of that, too, when you talk about Texas has no ranked wins, I mean, what we've been saying when Texas joined the SEC was, oh, it's the gauntlet. It's the week in and week out. It's not about going and playing Alabama in like a head-to-head and you beat them or winning some bowl game or something. It's about the gauntlet. Well, if you go through the gauntlet, but some of those teams aren't ranked because that conference is so tough that it's all cannibalized each other, that's going to have to count for something, too.
No,
if you go 11-1 in
agree
the
with
SEC, but we cherry pick and say, well, the teams that you win 11-1 against aren't any good, you ran the gauntlet.
Well, if they go 11-1,
tough.
I'm talking about 10-2. With, I think we can say there are lighter schedules and there are heavier schedules when it comes to the SEC. Texas goes 11-1. They need to be. That means they beat Texas A&M.
Nobody can say this show is SEC bias. I know that because we're here talking about a team in 3 in Texas that, in my opinion, shouldn't be there. It gets to the point where, like, rankings are just toxic. It's just toxic. That's
well,
what it is.
again,
It's just
is it
toxic.
designed for this? Is that what it's designed for? For this?
Yeah, maybe.
Which, that in itself is kind of depressing. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You know the deal. All right, we're trying to be like Elon Musk and them. It's efficiency. All right, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's grow up and fix this economy together.